Hi, I'm Jeff. This is Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north. So we're going to wing it today. So this is a little bit of greenhouse news for you, a little bit of an update, everything that's going on at the moment, have a look round, bit of a tropical plant chat, that kind of thing. So, as I say, I'm just going to make it up as I go along. So let's just take a quick look around the warm side and see what's going on. So, I suppose it's a bit of a tour. As I say, if there's something to talk about, something pops into my head. You might find this hard to believe, but very often nothing pops into my head. So just looking at this Tradescantia here, so I'm still getting crispy leaves on it, but even the ones in the house get crispy leaves. And I did do a video on that, the various things you can do about it, but what you can't do is you can't stop it getting crispy leaves. You might as well say, look, I've got an evergreen tree outside, stop it from getting any more dead leaves. They get them, they're going to get them. It's just something that happens. I'm really looking forward to this Cattleya coming out again. I've nursed this Cattleya, it's got a little bud on it there. I've nursed it from being almost dead. It was an auction one, and it's a really, really nice one. I don't know what, it's a hybrid obviously, I don't know what the name of the hybrid is. It's a no ID one. It's another one for Michael. He's the expert on these things, isn't he? So I wanted to show you this Epicattleya because you can see quite a stark difference there. This bloom spike was out several weeks ago, and all these others are just beginning to open. Look at the difference in colour. Look how they change. Not only do they change colour, but the patterning on them changes as well. So real deep orange on there, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like fuzzed up at the edges and spread, where it's a lot more marked on there, like a deeper marking, quite a bigger contrast between the two. So I'm now almost got 4 bloom spikes out with another one coming along there. I'm still waiting for the right thing to put this on. I've got a video that I'm going to make on this Phlebodium, blue star fern, because I'm going to mount it, because that's how they grow. I don't want it in a pot. Still looking fabulous here. My Laelia Anceps. It doesn't, I thought it had a stronger scent than it does, but it does have a scent to it if you come in on the right time of the day. I don't know when that time is, but it does have a scent to it. I'm going to do another video on this Medusa thing. Was it Habenaria Medusa, or Medusae? It's getting to the point now where it's beginning to go over completely, like the leaves are beginning to yellow, and there is like a specific thing you've got to do with them, like a protocol. And I've got to mention this Dendrobium Nook. I thought I'd rescued it. I mean, it's like literally grown 2 new canes like that. That's the main cane that it's grown, and this one is obviously a much less of a strong growth, and it's losing some of its leaves already. But it did bloom for me this year, but I emptied it out of its pot, and would you believe it's still not grown any roots? Nothing, completely nothing, not one single root. So I have put it in a very small pot. I've got rid of, and this is against, well, I've actually had, believe it or not, like 2 complete contrasting pieces of advice on this from various people. And again, it shows that it's all to do with the environment, isn't it? But I had it in some bark and some perlite and some sphagnum moss, just like strands of sphagnum moss. And I wrapped the sphagnum moss around where the roots would come from. And one person said, "Oh yeah, it's got to be wet all the time. You've got to keep it wet, keep the water coming." Somebody else said the complete opposite. Now, I've tried the sphagnum moss method. I've tried the keeping it wet method. It's just not worked for me. That's twice it's not worked for me. And on this occasion, I thought, right, okay, let's go the complete opposite way. Very, very small pot. Pure bark, let's see what happens. So that's where we're up to at the moment. So I'm going to make sure that it dries out in between waterings. Plumeria, at this time of year, it does start to lose its leaves. I always hope, I'll say always, it's only the second year I've had it, but I hope that it kind of keeps them It may do a little bit longer this year because obviously I've got the grow lights. I have another plumeria over here. If we can just get past the spider there. You see that spider? Let's see if I can zoom in on the spider. Doesn't want to be zoomed in on. Oops, sorry about that, Mr. Spider. There we go. Anyway, yeah, plumeria. There's my other plumeria, and again, it's slowly losing its leaves. I had the same problem with this hibiscus. It's just, I've never been able to stop it getting this kind of chlorotic look on it. There's a couple of the new leaves down here, or the older leaves, I guess, haven't got it. It's not really bloomed for me. Well, it did kind of have one flower on it, but it wasn't very exciting. It didn't last very long. The Miltonia Newton Falls, very close now. Can't wait for that to come. That's a stunning bloom when it comes. A couple more spikes on it there. And we've got this one, which I'm not quite sure how to pronounce. It come through to me as a Brassia Gilded Tower Mystic Maze, but I believe it has another name now. I don't know how you pronounce that. Is that pronounced as an S, or I say Bracidostele? 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 I don't know. No idea. I've never heard anyone pronounce it. So that, I think, looks really, really nice. I know it's a hybrid. It's I'm kind of getting to that point, but I can see why a lot of these older growers do end up just going for species. I can see the idea that hybrids are, well, they're not really genuine somehow, because the man-made, person-made, human-made, they're not really as genuine as a species in the wild plant. I know you can get like natural hybrids, can't you? But a lot of these, well, most of these in here are not. But the hybrids are very nice. I like them. I really like the hybrids. And let's face it, they can't all be difficult. You know, it's nice to have something that grows well for you and that isn't a struggle. So I'll just go past all my Tradescantia there. This, unfortunately, this is Epicattleya. It's coming to its end now. I've lost a couple of blooms on it. These ones are going now. You can tend to see they tend to lose like the stalk to the flower first. That tends to go yellow first, and then the bloom. It makes sense, doesn't it? Kind of coming up the stem here, or the flower spike here, and then it just cuts off the nutrition, cuts off the water maybe, and then the bloom at the end drops off. It's a shame. Still smelling beautiful. This Brassia Orange Delight, looking fabulous again this year. That does have a nice scent to it if you like musty smells. I quite like it. It's unusual. Now this one down here, I'm not showing you this one for a while. So this is a BLC. Yeah, Xing Fong, Little Sun, Young Min, Golden Boy. And it's produced all these nice growths. Again, this is another one that had no roots when it came through. But these sheath things, I think they're all blind. There's nothing. They're just like a little leaf in the middle. So whether anything will come from that. So again, those of you who grow these, this was my first, maybe can tell me what's going on there. Wondering whether it's just purely it's decided to put a bit of growth on while it had no roots, just a bit of vegetative growth, and maybe next time we'll get some blooms on it. Just do a bit of tidying up while I'm here. Now this does have a beautiful colour underneath. Look at the colour on this. This is Tradescantia Nanouk Lilac. Gorgeous, gorgeous thing. I was just flicking through Christmas presents the other day. You know, the kind of thing where you make a list for yourself. Like we set ourselves a budget in the house, and we all get so much. Like my daughter gets the most, obviously, and me and my wife just get a few quid each, and we make a list for each other. I know it's daft, because at the end of the day, I order what I want anyway. But I did notice that these Inkbird things, the temperature monitor, they're all slightly different. This one is a monitor that you can actually set different temperatures for day and night and so on. I don't actually use that function on it because it was just too much. My idea was that I was going to do, like a lot of these orchids, like a differential. And the same with the carnivorous plants. They like a nighttime low, and then they want like a differential of whatever it is, 5 degrees or 9 degrees, whatever it is. It's different, isn't it, for every plant? And I noticed that they're now doing a Wi-Fi one. So you can actually connect it to your phone, and it'll connect to your router. And wherever you are in the world, if you get an alert then to say that the temperature is whatever it is, then you can change it. And actually, while I'm here, I've noticed that overnight, because my where is it? The sensor is up here somewhere, just about there somewhere. And I've noticed that overnight, this 18 degrees, it's dropping to about 16 point something. So clearly it's not really doing the job that I want it to do. I'm going to do like 0.3 degrees. Now, I'm not sure. I have to go through both because this is like day and night temperature. There you go. So we've done both of them now. So they're both set to the same, and it just it costs me a little bit more money, but that's the way it goes. I don't want it to drop to 16. It's a little bit too low for me. So what else is going on? So over here, it's not a coleus, believe it or not, that you can see in the corner there, despite the label. So this is my Miltonia speciosa, and it did a beautiful, wonderful flowering for me. It lasted months and months and months. I did do a repot early in the year, and both of them have really put some great growth on. They're very slow growers, but of course this is why when they do bloom, they last for a long, long time. So I'm hoping that they begin to do something in terms of blooms soon. I think it would have been like 2018 going into 2019 when they started to form the last blooms for me. So they're due, they're due another blooming, I think. I did repot them. They really need to go in those baskets, don't they? They need to go in this kind of thing. This seems to be doing much better now, actually. I mean, the bulbophyllum is a slow grower, but since I put it into this pot, you can see how all the leaves have kind of changed direction. I'm surprised at how quickly they've done that, really. I'll just show you this Nepenthes Cattleya crossed with I can never remember this one. Aristolochioides crossed with Spectabilis. And despite the lateness of the month, December, we've got a nice new little picture there. I can see this one's going to be a really nice patterned one when it begins to get going. That's all I ever say with these small Nepenthes. They're so slow. I mean, this one, it's been taking forever, this Hookeriana. It is a lowland Nepenthes. But somebody suggested just put it in totally put it in sphagnum moss, which I have done. And I think it has kind of put a little bit of growth on since then. Some like itty-bitty pictures, like we're talking about titchy little pictures there. And we'll just have to see. That one's all right. I think that's Ventricosa. Yeah, no, Ventrata. It's got a nice fur-sized picture on it there. So hopefully that'll really get going soon. So what else is there to mention? Yeah, a lot of my begonias, for some reason, they don't like it down at 12. So I've brought them through to the warmer side just to make sure. Like this whitey eye down here, this maculata whitey eye, just didn't like it at all. It dropped all its leaves, and that one's hanging on. I think there's a new growth coming there, so hopefully that begins to grow well soon. It just doesn't like it so low. I did lose all the blooms on this one over here, this Adenium, unfortunately, and I began to lose all the leaves too, and again brought it back over to the warm side. And I'm not really that thrilled about this one down here. So this was my Asparagus Cetaceous. I think that's spelled wrong, actually. My daughter did that one, and I just chopped it. I got fed up with it, all these little things falling off it, so I just chopped it at the bottom, and would you believe it's sprouted back again. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that's going on in here. Anything else to mention while I'm at it? I've never yet managed to get this, again, I don't know how to pronounce it, Myrmecatavola Francis Fox to do anything. It's chucked up quite a few growths, it's chucked up quite a few flower spikes, but every time, well, they're not flower spikes, are they? They just kind of emerge from the between the leaves there, the leaf junction. But every time they've blasted. Didn't like it. Again, plenty of roots on it, so I'm hopeful that that'll do something at some point for me. So I think that's the warm side taken care of. So let's move through to the cooler side and see what's going on over here. So this Streptocarpus Crystal Ice is doing better than it's done all year. Just like for the first kind of 8 months of the year, it just threw a few flower spikes up, and then all of a sudden you get absolutely hundreds and hundreds of them. I mean, it is sold as like a winter flowering one. Well, actually, no, it's not a winter flower. It's sold as like an all year round one. But I mean, it's fine. It suits my purposes because it only really comes into this fabulous blooming time when practically nothing else is in bloom. We've got the pink Laelia is a real doer, as they say. It just goes on all year. If anyone's into the begonias, so this one is a Begonia Masoniana, supposedly. However, somebody mentioned the other day, and I absolutely agree with them actually, that it looks like, and I can't remember what they said, it was something like, I can't remember the name, but it translated to sun changer. The sun changing begonia, because the leaves change colour in the sun. And the sun changing one has these like pale green markings here in the veins of the leaf, whereas the Masoniana, it had like a dark, these veinings were dark. So I'm wondering whether this is mislabeled. It came from Dibblies, and that was the label that it came from on Dibblies. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you know anything about these things? I'm a bit disappointed with this Pinguicula. This one has gone so tiddly. I don't know what's happening to it. I don't know whether they died down or not. That Pinguicula hasn't died down. This one is Cyclosecta. Does it say on there? Yeah, bluish succulent. Ah, yeah, if I remember. I've just been attacked by some insects here. If I remember correctly, it has like a winter leaves, and then it grows a little bit bigger for summer. I hope it grows a lot bigger than that. At the moment, it's not looking that spectacular. Dormancy has lost most of its leaves now, but I'm not worried about that this year. I know it'll come back. So this twinkle is about to come, just about to. We've got those little buds there about to pop, and you know, I'm really disappointed with this. And so this is my Epidendrum Comet Valley Orange Star. I did a video on this. Well, I've done several videos on this actually, and okay, so going back 2 years, nearly lost it, basically overwatered it. This year, well, in between, it grew tons of roots, loads of growth, and some fabulous, I think we had 3 or 4 flower spikes on it. And since then, like the last 2 or 3 months, it's just gradually dropped every single leaf. And all we're left with is, well, I'm not even sure if they're not cakeys coming off it. There's some growth coming, like that, for example. And I don't know if that's going to turn out to be a keiki or not. But yeah, there's nothing, I've not stressed it in any way more than I have in the past. It's been doing perfectly well. You know, there's the growths all look fine. I've not done anything different with it. The conditions haven't changed. I even sprayed it just to make sure, sprayed it with practically everything I had, just to make sure that there was no underlying bug or fungal disease or anything like that. So again, if anybody's into epidendrums, is this what they normally do? Is this a normal thing to happen? I'm holding off the water just to make sure that I don't kind of, because obviously it's not in full growth, is it? Just to make sure that I don't overwater it. I don't know what's happening there. There's not a white residue on it. They're just dying off basically. But yet, looking back over at this other epidendrum, this one's about to bloom. This one's got full. It's already had 1 flower spike on it, and this other cane has got another one coming. So I don't know what's going on there. There's something a bit peculiar. Still going with this one. Ed, thanks very much. That's given me tons of blooms this year. What else? You've seen my Boragera looking superb, giving me tons and tons of fragrance. I still really like the cyclamen, and there's one or two blooms going over there. My Oncidium Sweet Sugar hasn't shown any sign of throwing a spike up this year. Not sure why, but I'll just keep doing what I'm doing with that, and hopefully that'll come. It did do a spectacular blooming last year, so I'm quite happy with that. A couple coming there. I'm thinking now that this Dendrobium Densiflorum would really be better in a basket. I know, actually, you know what? See how wet it is? That's not because I've watered it. I mean, how can you give it a dry winter rest? What's going on here is the condensation is running down there and then running down this wire. It's got to be, because I've not watered it and that is sopping wet. So I better get that moved somehow. I'll move it once I'm finished. Would you believe it? I don't know. You try and do the best for these plants and your greenhouse conspires against you. Unbelievable. Yeah, I did notice quite a lot of water on the floor underneath that chair, which I never sit in. I don't know why I've even got that chair. I'm going to move it. So I just think what plants I could have there. So my Nepenthes Burkei, there's another one going to pop there, which is spectacular considering it's December, isn't it really? It's already, people ask me this about the water, should I put water in them? Well, that's already half full of water, I can feel it, it's heavy. I mean, maybe if it comes in the post, maybe it's worth putting a bit of distilled water in there, just to kind of give it a head start. So, where are we? What else have we got to look at over here? I don't think I told you I bought a Dendrobium Farmeri. That's it over there. And it has got a new growth on it. A couple of new growths. I think they look a little bit worse than the other two. They might have some more to come on them yet. Some more growth and vigour to come on them. What else did we get here? Over here. Let's have a look. I don't know if I showed you this Begonia luxurians. That's in full bloom now. I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm not that blown away with begonia blooms. I know a lot of the big blousy ones are quite attractive, but this kind of thing, this really is for the like the stature of it. For me, anyway, I just like the structure of it, and the luxurians is even better, isn't it? Now, hopefully Sotoanum will come very soon, and again hopefully this cinnamon twinkle will come very soon. Now, even at 12 degrees, this mandevilla is still giving me blooms. It's losing the odd little leaf, you know, a few turning yellow, which you can only expect, can't you? I mean, look at this pelargonium. It thinks it's middle of August. It doesn't realise it's December. Nobody told it. This is like a really hairy one, which they really like it very, very dry, and obviously it's not in the greenhouse at this time of year, so I am getting the odd little bit of yellowing leaf on there, and I've got to get them off quick because it'll turn into botrytis, and that botrytis will spread very quickly. I think begonias, they do like a nice kind of defoliation. Not complete defoliation, but like they like some space between the leaves, because they grow a lot of leaves, and if you leave the leaves, then you'll find that they produce more and less blooms for some reason. So get those botrytis encrusted leaves off as quick as you can. That really helps. Still got the cherry baby going on there. Now, normally at this time of year, we start looking at these streps. I usually do them all at once. I usually do like a clean up all at once, but I've been doing it as I'm going along. So like this, for example, you can see the new green leaves, which will be for next year, and you can see the old yellow leaves, which are this year's. So what I do is I pull them out, and the old flower spikes, they all want pulling off too, and you'll find that when you pull them, and I can't really do this one-handed, when you pull them, you kind of get a rosette. There you go. You get like a rosette or part of, like, it goes quite far back, and it really tidies up the plant and gets them going for next year, sets them up nicely for next year. Again, it's a two-handed job. See, that kind of thing. Get all that up. It just comes up really easily, and it's better than leaving all this stuff on. And of course, now's the time to repot them as well. I mean, I know they say spring, but I always repot them in December, and they're quite happy for that. So I really need to go through all these streps and start doing that. You can see the ones that are looking more tired now. But if I get rid of these yellowing leaves, once these blooms have gone, then we'll start to get the new dark green leaves. So you can see on some plants we've already got some nice new dark green ones, and we've still got some of the old ones on. Don't mention this one very often. This is the Pleurathallis Restrepioides, because I don't like it. I did have another one. I did a video on it, didn't I? Whether I was unsure whether I liked it or not. And what I ended up doing, because it was a very old plant that I had, so I got the old plant and I separated it out from all the new growth. So this was the new growth pot. The old plant I've actually chucked because I was that sick of it and it was horrible. This one I kept, and it's going to bloom. And I'm hoping that this one will be, they'll be nicer. You know, there'll be nicer leaves. They'll be nicer. It's coming through the side of the pot there. There'll be nicer blooms. I always remember Oliver's greenhouse, and he grew a really nice one, much nicer than my kind of manky version. So I will just move around over here. So there are some new plants to show soon, very soon. Unfortunately, at this time of year, because I've nothing else to do, I spend all my time ordering plants, which is great at this time when I do it, but usually about 2 weeks later, when the account is looking rather sad, then I regret it. It's like buy now and worry about it later. So a few months ago, I repotted both my Masdevallias. So I've got a new Masdevallia coming. I was going to go for, I think it's not Vetii, Masdevallia striolata, something like that anyway. I can't remember the name. It was one from the Gross. God, I can't remember the name of that either. Oh dear, I need to go back to bed. That German orchid seller anyway, that begins with Gross. I bought it from them. And they were selling the Strelata. I don't know. They were selling one with it was a Masdevallia with like striations on it, like lines on it. And it's very nice, but I saw it on a few people's channels and I thought, I'd go for something a bit different. So I ordered a different one. But yeah, I repotted these a few months ago. I told you I was just making it up as I went along today. I repotted it a few months ago, and I used peat moss. So it isn't moss, it isn't sphagnum moss, it just looks like peat. And they seem to love it. I mean, you can see all the old manky leaves on here that all kind of went black in the heat that we had through the summer. But there's tons of new leaves on it, look, tons of new leaves. And they will very, very soon, once they've opened out, it'll start producing some bloom spikes. I very much hope. So this kind of thing where it should just kind of throws a couple of sporadic ones out. I find they can do that at this time of year. For the most part, like the mass bloomings, for me anyway, I've always been, I'm going to say always, twice, early in the year, like February, March, April. And they go on and on, don't they? They go on for quite a few months. So somebody did mention maybe I should do a video on this. So this is my Pteris Quadriaurita. At the moment it isn't Quadriaurita. At the moment it's only got like one shade of green on it. We've not got the bronzy new fronds on it, but I'm sure that'll come at some point very soon. Yeah, so what else have I ordered? So I also ordered, as well as the Masdevallia, I also ordered a Dracula. I've been after a Dracula for ages, but they're so expensive, but I just thought, oh, what the heck, I'm ordering a Dracula. So I ordered one of them. I've ordered a new fern from Shady Plants in Ireland, and unfortunately, due to Brexit, this will be the last fern that I get from Shady Plants in Ireland, which is such a shame. I don't know whether when people were voting for Brexit, this kind of thing was considered, but unfortunately, they won't be able to sell to the rest of the UK anymore. because they will require some certificates, and this certificate costs a lot of money, and well, that's it. So they've obviously decided they can't do that. They won't be able to go to any of the shows, the RHS shows, and they won't be able to sell there. So whether they'll survive or not, I don't know. But, you know, this is what was voted for. And we'll not get into that. But I've started my amaryllis off again. And I forced them to have a break of a couple of months. And I've just started watering them again. So that hopefully in a few months I'll get some nice big blooms there. And I've also just ordered another one. Again, thanks to Michael. Thanks to Michael. So I've ordered an amaryllis. I think is it Papio or Papilio or something along those lines. Which I must say, looking at the photos, it looks absolutely brilliant. It's a shame really that I've not got more room for these kind of things. I know Rachel does have a lot of and I know they're not amaryllis actually. They're actually hippeastrums. Amaryllis is wrong, I believe. I know those are labelled as amaryllis, but I found that out later on. But yeah, the hippeastrums, aren't they? So that's the news at the moment, I think. I'm just having a look around. Brought my Cymbidiums over to the cooler side now, because apparently they do like to be a little bit cool over winter. Down to about 10, I understand, is what they like to get. That one was actually at 18 degrees all last winter, and it's still bloomed for me. But I'll follow the wisdom and let's see what goes on with that. Phlebodium's looking good. What was this one? So this one down here, this Gloriosa lily, Gloriosa superba, never bloomed, still looking the same. I mean, I expected that to die down. The other one, which is over there in this pot of nothingness down there, the other one died down. They were both the same, the exact same lily, just obviously separate tubers. And that one died down, which sort of left that's not going in the water now. But this one over here, for whatever reasons known to itself, has decided to continue with its greenery, which is fine. Maybe I'll get a head start on it when spring comes, and I'll be quite happy for that. So yeah, that one's looking really nice as well, this Nepenthes. It's producing some pictures, but they're kind of like winter pictures. They're quite diddy, nothing like the mammoth ones that we got over summer. Obviously, that's to do with the temperatures. But if anybody's struggling with Nepenthes trying to get pictures, I would definitely suggest these two, Burkei and Gaya. They just love producing pictures, and they've produced tons and tons of them for me so far. I did make a video on how, they kind of, I think there was 8 things I come up with that encouraged them to produce pictures, and it certainly worked for me because I wasn't getting pictures prior to then. I'm very, very concerned at this. It's gushing water. Where's it coming from? It doesn't even seem to be coming down. It's catching it somewhere, isn't it? Something's dripping on that to make that happen. That definitely has to be moved. So we'll just finish off back in the warm side because I'm getting cold now. Tolumnias. Now that one, it only had one bloom on when it came, and it's got a spike there, but I understand, thanks to Roger, that they can branch, so we'll see what happens to them. They've not really started growing yet since they came over into my ownership, so I'm hoping that they start to do something soon. So okay, I think we'll leave it at that. So that's the greenhouse news for today. That's the tropical plants talk. So as usual, put your comments in the comments section. Love to hear from people, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.